Great. Okay, so we're going to be starting at the front end of our mats. So separate your feet just slightly, big toes in line with each other, arms nice and easy. Maybe just roll the shoulders back and around a few times, and then just allow your shoulders to settle. Take a moment here to close your eyes, and then start to rock gently forwards and backwards on your feet. And with your eyes closed, you might feel that you could lose your balance. So rather just keep it quite small. And start to notice the connections in your body as you do this rocking action. Feel the connection to the front of your body. Feel the connection to the back of your body. And then just center yourself evenly over your 2 feet. And then start to rotate from side to side. And again, you might want to keep it a little bit smaller because your eyes are closed. And start to now feel the connections along the sides of your body. In particular, you might feel the obliques, the abdominals on the right and the left sides, just helping to support the structure of your spine, to help keep you upright. And then come all the way back to center. Pause here for a moment and just feeling your joints stack. Feeling your feet gently spread out onto the ground. Notice your ankles, your knees, and your hips. If you notice that your knees are hyperextending or pushing back, then maybe you need to soften them a little bit. If you perhaps stand with very bent knees, maybe you can straighten them a little bit. Bring your awareness up to your pelvis, and then maybe just do a little tuck with the pelvis underneath you, and then stick your tailbone out the back, and just do a few of these little pelvic tilts in the air. And that's called a posterior tilt and an anterior tilt. And then see if you can get your pelvis to settle in a neutral position, as if it is a basin filled to the very top with water. Keep breathing. And then start to notice all the joints in between your vertebrae, and notice how those vertebrae stack one on top of the other in those gentle curves that make up your spine. Feel the crown of your head lifting up towards the sky. Notice the width of your collarbones, the placement of your scapula. And then bring your awareness to your shoulder joints, your elbow joints, your wrists, and your hands. Taking a lovely deep breath in through your nose. Breathe out through the mouth and sigh. Blinking your eyes open, bring yourself back into the space. Take a breath in, create a little bit more room for yourself. Exhale as you look down and start peeling forward through your spine. And you can go all the way down towards the ground on this first one if you wish. Just keep your knees a little bit softer, and when you reach the bottom, just pause for a moment. Notice maybe where you're feeling a stretch or a pull today. And then you're going to take a breath in. Exhale, use your abdominals as you come all the way back up into standing. Rolling up slowly and lifting nice and tall. And now reach both your arms all the way up. Touching your fingers, touching the palms of your hands. Feel the ribs expand wide. And then open your arms, bringing them gently down. And then interlock your hands behind your back. And you're going to pull your fists just over to your left hip. And just settle there for a moment. Bend your knees if you need to. And then start tilting your head towards the left shoulder and do a little release up again. Tilt and release. And you might notice that there's a bit of a stretch stretch down the right side of the neck. And now tilt your head to the side and stay there for a moment. Don't force it. And now rotate your neck. So you're going to tip your nose towards your armpit. And then bring your head back so that you're looking forwards again. And do a little rotation. So as if you're going to snip your armpit. And release your head back. And we're going to do just one more time. And this rotation of the head is actually releasing a muscle called the levator scapula. Bring your head back, lift your head to the center, and releasing the hands down. Let go of your hands. We're going to inhale, reaching all the way up. Fingertips, hands touch, and exhale, opening the arms nice and wide, placing your hands behind your back. You can stay where you are. And now you're going to bring your fists over to the right side, just so you can see what I'm doing from the back. Settle there. And now start tilting your head gently to the right. And release. And a little tilt. So when we take our head just to the side like this, it's getting a little bit more of a release into the upper trapezius muscles and these muscles at the front of the cleidomastoid. That's where you might feel it more. Now tilt your head to the side and stay there. And then tilt your nose as if you're going to sniff your right armpit. And then just bring your head back to the center. And again, tilt your head down. And now, as we do this rotation at the neck, you might start to get a little bit more of a release into a different muscle called the levator scapula. And this muscle is very interesting because it has a little twist in it as it goes up to attach to the neck. Bring your head back to the center, lift your head up and releasing your hands. And one more time, let's take a nice deep breath in, lift the ribs, look up and exhale, opening the arms nice and wide. And just let your arms settle for a moment, nice and easy. Now roll down. You're going to nod your chin and start articulating forward through the spine. And after that, a little bit of a neck release. Just notice if there's any release on your own body as you do this. Stay at the bottom, give your head a little shake. Take a breath in. And then exhale, unravel. Coming all the way back up. And lifting nice and tall. Now you're going to bring your hands just out to the side and you're going to bend the elbows and place your fingertips to your temples. Make sure that the elbows are a little bit forward. Bend the knees slightly. Start leaning to your right. So I'm doing a mirror image of you. So you feel an opening along the left side of the body and then breathe out as you come back to the center. We inhale. Lean to the side, and exhale, draw back in. Good, now as you do this movement, see if you can keep your legs and your pelvis still, and you're literally just isolating the movement into the spine, moving to the side, and obviously the ribs are going to move with you as well, because they're attached to the spine. But if any of you have ever done work on the reformer beds in Pilates, there's an exercise called the tilt, where we're sitting on a box and going side to side. And it's a wonderful way to activate and lengthen those obliques muscles. Come back to the center, reach up, touch the fingertips and hands, and exhale once again, open your arms nice and wide and allow them to settle beside you. One more roll down, take a breath in. Exhale, nod your chin, and let's just start peeling forward through the spine. Soften your knees as much as you need to, because I'm going to ask you to put either fingertips or, if you're flexible, to put your palms flat on the ground. Wherever you are, just get your balance, and then bend both your knees as if you're sitting in a chair, and then straighten your legs as much as you can manage, but do not let your hands come off the floor. And again, bending the knees. For those of you that maybe come from a dance background or are very flexible, why don't you see if you can keep your your chest on your thighs as you start to straighten your legs. So that's going to be a little bit of a challenge for you. Last two, and stretch. Last one, and stretch. Now, bend your knees, move your body weight onto your left leg, find your balance as you pick up the right leg, and then just take a nice step all the way back. Tippy toes to the ground, lower your knee, give yourself padding if you need, relaxing the foot out, and then coming up, hands onto the knee. Lift your gaze, take a moment to find a little bit of length in your spine. You can feel that the lower abs and the gluteals have to work gently to support you. So, see if you can bring both your arms down today, and we're going to lift and lower both arms. Inhale, and exhale. And if you're finding that this is a lot of challenge for your balance, then just put your left hand onto your knee again. So this is a wonderful way to start opening and releasing the hip flexor muscle. And that hip flexor muscle is called the iliopsoas. It's right at the front here. So this little muscle can sometimes get shortened, so it can feel tight, but sometimes it can also be weak. So we want to be able to strengthen and release it to free up the lower back. One more time, breathing in, and then exhale, and this time reach down, put your fingertips onto the ground, find your balance, and then step the left leg back, so you're coming into a 4-point kneeling. Now put your hands flat, set yourself up so that your wrists feel okay, long spine, and let's go into a little bit of a cat stretch. Start by rounding the spine. Peeling yourself up, and then start lengthening the spine, reaching your tail out, and maybe you can come into a little bit of extension. And then again, using your breath. So continue rounding, and then either just lengthening the spine or moving towards extension. But what I'd like you to try is closing your eyes just to start to notice how it feels, not necessarily worrying about what it looks like. Finding that articulation all the way from the sacrum up through to the very, very top vertebra that attaches your skull to the rest of your spine. And then one more time, round your spine, and let's stay here for a moment. Tuck your toes under. Lift your knees just up off the mat. Just up off the mat. Holding it here. Feeling how the abdominals are working. Feeling the lift of the belly towards the spine, pushing away from your hands. And then on your next breath, lift your hips up and let's move towards a downward facing dog. Keep your knees bent for now. And let's just pedal the heels down, one at a time. Pedaling through the heels, and then pushing both heels towards the mat. Doesn't matter if the knees are bent. Focus on breathing. Notice the shape of your body, the stacking and alignment of your joints. Now, bend your knees, and we're going to start walking our feet all the way forward. So, go onto the tips of your toes if you need, go onto the tips of your fingers if you need, and coming all the way forward until your big toes are in line with each other, and then relax over. Give your head a little bit of a shake. Fingertips on the ground. Bend your knees. Transfer your body weight over to your right leg. Pick up your left leg and stretch it all the way back. Get a pillow ready if you need for your knee. Lower that knee down, relaxing the foot back, and then bringing your hand up. And remember, you can widen your base if you need to. Bring yourself to a point where you can find a lengthening and ease of your spine so that you're not weight bearing forward. And then let your hands come down. Both hands, breathe in and breathe out. Good. So to find stability here for the lumbar spine, you need to get a little bit of a connection into the lower abdominals and into the gluteals, the gluteus maximus. And then by lifting the arms up, you're creating a pull or a tensioning onto that line of muscle so that we're getting that lovely release into the left hip flexor now. And this is going to help us free up our lower back. One more time. And release all the way down. Put your fingertips down and then step that right leg back. And once again, you come onto all fours. Let's move into our cat stretch. Start rounding your spine. Pressing out of your hands and lengthening the spine. So as you move through these positions of arch and curl, flexion and extension, start to notice what your abdominals do. So as you round your spine like a cat, there's a shortening up of the abdominals. They're really working actively. And as you lengthen, they're actually not releasing. They're not just hanging out. They're getting a stretch, but they're actually working. And it's called an eccentric contraction. And that transverse abdominis, that deepest layer of abdominal muscles that we have, is gently supporting all those internal organs. And we're going to do just one more time. We're going to round our spine up into the cat stretch. Now stay here. Tuck your toes under. And once again, lift the knees. Keep pressing out of the arms. Feel those abdominal muscles working, and every other joint is being stabilized right now. Taking one more breath in. Lift your hips up. Moving towards your inverted V, your downward facing dog, and then pedal the heels out. And then push both heels towards the ground. Take one more breath in, and this time come down onto your knees. Release the feet back, and let's do a little bit of a wrist stretch. So start pivoting your hands all the way back, or as back as far as you can manage, so that we can get that lovely carpal tunnel release. And then remember, you can add a little bit of a rocking action, or if this is too intense, then maybe you need to keep your shoulders a little bit forward over your wrists, or don't pivot your hands back quite so far. Taking just a few more breaths. And then come all the way back around, bringing your fingertips all the way to the front. Now, middle finger pointing forward, spread the other fingers out, and just make sure that your wrists are in a happy place. We can do some cross-patterning work here. Slide the right leg back. Keep your toes on the ground and just double check that your pelvis is level. Balance on the right hand, walking the left fingertips forward, and then you stay here for a moment. Level out your shoulders, and then on your breath, pick up the arm and the leg at the same time. And bring it down. And again, pick up. And bring it down. And again, lift. Find your stability. Stay aware of your alignment. One more time. Lift up and stay here this time. Move your arm a little bit to the left and your leg a little bit to the right. And bring them back. a little bit out to the side. So we're moving the limbs away from the midline of the body. And as soon as you do that movement, do you notice how much more you load the abdominals? Come back to the center, hold it, and bring the arm and the knee all the way in. Good. Let's try the other side. Left leg back, pause there. Right fingertips forward. Double check alignment. And then on your next breath, bring the arm and the leg up at the same time and a little release. And tiny lift and little release. Excellent. So it's not a huge movement. It's about getting the cross patterning. It's about finding the core connection. Lift up and hold it here this time. Double check your balance. And then your right arm goes a little bit to the right and your leg to the left. And center. Keep going at your own pace. Notice how it gives you an extra sense of abdominals connecting. One more. And hold, bringing the arm and the knee in. Open your knees wide, big toes together. Settle back and just allow your forehead to come down. Bring the palms of your hands together in prayer. Bend your elbows and placing your hands just behind your head. So you're just taking the pressure off your wrists and giving a little bit of a stretch to those triceps muscles as well. Few more seconds. Focus on that wide breath across the back of the ribs. Feeling your lungs inflate and empty. And on your next breath, bringing your hands forward, just walk your hands towards your knees and letting yourself come upright. You're going to have your knees and your feet slightly separated and having them in parallel, arms down beside you. Start to hinge your hips back, but reach forward so that you're counterbalancing with your upper body, and then press back up. So it's quite linear. There's no rounding of the spine here. It's literally a hinging action from the pelvis so your spine stays straight. It means that the abdominals and the back muscles need to work together. So, if this is feeling good for you and it feels like a nice connection into the abdominals, the gluteals, the legs, you can keep going with this movement. But if you would like to challenge it, you can start to sit back with an upright spine and press up again. And if you do want to try this, but you can feel that it's straining your knees, then maybe just keep it smaller like this. You don't have to go all the way back. Nobody says you have to sit on the heels of your feet. If you can, if you've got that mobility, then that's wonderful. And guys, if you need to change the shape that your legs are in, out or in, do so as well. 2 more. 1 more. And release, leaning forward, placing fingertips to the ground, moving your feet to the right, moving your hips to the left. Right hand holds onto the ankle. Left arm comes up and over. And by the way, it doesn't matter if you're sort of pivoting on your mat or changing directions. And release. Come up. Test that you can balance and sit on your bum bones here. Tuck yourself into that little ball shape. Hands come to the front of your shins. Keeping your chin in, keeping the abdominals connected. Finding your balance. And then on your next breath, swing your feet to the left. Put your hand toward the right so you can sit on that right hip. And then hold on to the outside ankle. And you lift the arm up and over. Oh, such a good stretch, especially if you're tight sort of around the lower back here. It's a lovely release. And come upright. And again, lift your feet up and test that you can balance. So when we go into rolling like a ball later, your body and your brain are going to remember the shape. And if you want to challenge yourself, you could close your eyes. And it gives you that lovely sense of awareness of how your breath moves you. And last one. And placing your feet down. Good. Move towards the front of your mat. Knees bent, arms out. Find a little bit of length up through the spine. Inhale to prepare. And then exhale, start rolling yourself halfway back. Pause here, double check your abs are connected. Make sure the feet stay down. Can you pick up one arm? Breathe in and breathe out. Nice. Get the hang of the abs. Left arm, breathe in and breathe out. One more time each side. Last one. Exhale, stay here for a moment, take a little breath in, come forward again, lift up and sit up straight. And again, use your breath out as you start rolling yourself back. So find a position where you can keep the connection to the lower abs, there's no strain in the back. Let's scissor the arms. So one arm goes down as the other one comes up. And the trick here is to keep your feet on the ground and see if you can keep your headlights facing forward. It's very tempting to start leaning to the side or twisting. Last two. Last one. Bring both hands forward. Pause for a moment. And forward you go. And lift up tall. You're okay for the last one. And exhale. Remember, if your lower back is giving you any grief, then rather just keep it small. Both arms. Breathe in. And exhale. Every time you breathe out, it's your opportunity to deepen the abdominal connection. Two more. And abdominals. One more. Abdominals. Hands behind the thighs, roll yourself back, and give yourself a moment to relax here. Stretch your legs out. You might want to adjust your body position on the mat. Both arms overhead for a good morning stretch. And then make a little croissant to one side, and a little croissant to the other side. Come back to the center, place your hands beside you, bend your knees, and you're going to have your legs slightly separated. Decide if you want palms down or palms up, and we're about to go into a pelvic curl. So guys, if you've got anything under your head, like a cushion, just take it out for this exercise. On your breath, start tilting your hips, rolling up into a bridge position. Stay here for a moment. Double check that your abs are connected, your gluteals and the back of your legs are working, but you are trying to soften into the back of the throat and shoulders. And then on your breath, start rolling yourself back down. Find that little imprint into the lower back and release at the bottom. And again, tilting the hips. Rolling up into a bridge. Pause for a moment. Inhale. And exhale. You get to ripple down. Imprint. And release. We're going to do one more. And using your breath. Rolling up. Hold it for a moment. And then start to ripple down through the spine. Imprint and release. Now stay as you are. Stabilize across the pelvis. Bring just the right knee up to a tabletop position. Keep your pelvic stability and just the right toe taps down and up. And lift. And lift. So just practicing that disassociation at the hip. Taking just a few more. Last one. And then put your hands behind that thigh, flexing the foot, and breathe out as you stretch the back of the leg. And release. And again, stretch. And release. Taking just a few more. One more time. Stretch. And release. Place that right foot down. Arms beside you. Pelvic stability. And bring the left knee up to tabletop. When you're ready, let's tap the left toe down and up. Good. Keep going. Practicing disassociation. Notice on your own body if there's a difference between your right and left sides. Because we're going to be tying this open chain work, this disassociation, into our bridge position in a second. One more. And hold it. Hands behind the thigh, flexing the foot, and exhale, stretch. And release. And as you do this release, is there a difference between your two sides? So especially if you've been sitting for a long time, eh? So you were in the car for a long time yesterday, hey Jules?
Yeah.
So yeah, you can definitely feel it in the back of the leg sometimes. One more. And release. And then placing that left foot down. Double check. Knees are hip distance apart. Your feet are grounded. Hands down. Pelvic curl. Here we go. Exhale, tilting the hips. Rolling up into a bridge position, and you hold it here. Put your fingertips on your bum cheeks to monitor. Start standing on the right leg a little bit more. A little bit more on the right leg. Is the bum waking up? Abs connected. And then see if you can pick up that left leg. Now stay there. Listen to me. Put your hands on the floor again. And keep your leg lifted as you roll your spine all the way down onto the mat. And then pelvic curl and roll up again on one leg. So you can feel that there's quite a bit of work in the arms, but a lot in the right bum and a lot in the left abdominals. Roll down again. Still on a single leg. And listen, if this is too much for you, just put your foot down. That's absolutely fine. And rolling up, especially if you've got knee issues. Hold it there this time. Placing the left foot down. Put your fingertips on your bottoms. And now, put a little bit of pressure on the left leg. Wake up the left bum. And then when you're ready, stand on the left leg and pick up the right knee and hold it. Put your hands down. Roll down through your spine, keeping that right leg lifted in the air if you can. And again, tilting the hips and rolling up. Can you find symmetry so that you are keeping your pelvis level and roll down? So you're going to feel a lot of work into the left leg. You're going to feel quite a bit of work into the right abdominals. Roll up again, last time. And you need to use your arms on the floor. Stay there. Put your right foot down. Give an extra squeeze with your bottoms. And then you get to ripple down through the spine. Imprint into the lower back. And release. Walk your feet to the edges of your mat. Move your hands into a wide V. And start rolling both knees to one side. And then up and over to the other side. Both knees. Getting that little bit of a release into the lower back. And you can make this quite a free movement. Make it big, make it small. You can stay on one side if you feel that that's what you need. stay nice and wide across your chest. Relaxing the back of your head, heavy to the ground. And let's just finish up on that last one. And then bring yourself all the way back to the center. So I want you to hug your right knee to your chest. Bring your left knee in to join it. Maybe just rock the hips a little bit from side to side. And then bringing your knees up to a tabletop position. Now listen, you're going to keep your head down. If you need a pillow under your head, that's fine. Put your hands to the front of your thighs. The fingers are pointing sort of in towards each other a little bit, and the elbows are out. You're going to take a breath in, and then as you breathe out, start creating tension between the hands and the thighs. So in other words, you're trying to pull your thighs towards your chest, but you are pushing away with your hands so that nothing is actually moving. And then let go. Could you feel something engaging there? Let's do that again. Take a breath in. And exhale. It's a little push and a pull. A little push and a pull. And you're probably going to feel the hip flexors and the abdominals switch on like that. And release. Make sure that your lower back feels okay, or you might need to pull your knees a little tighter to your chest. Last one, here we go. Breathing out, and it's a little feeling of a push and a pull, a push and a pull, a push and a pull, and release. Now, keep that connection into the hip flexors and abs. Bring both your hands up towards the sky. You open your arms wide. Breathe in. And it's an exhale as you bring your hands up, just shoulder distance apart, energy through fingertips. Inhale, expand wide. Don't let them rest though, hover. And exhale. Let's do 3 more. Feel how you can keep the connections into the hips, into the lower abs. Now on this last one, open your arms wide, turn your hands palms down and anchor your upper body. Squeezing the legs together, start rolling both knees to the right. Keep the knees and the ankles in line and breathe out as you pull back to center, abs, it's hip flexors. Taking your knees to the left. Keeping the shoulders down. Exhale. Think about wringing water out of a sponge to come back to the center. Now, you might want to go a little further over to the side, but be aware of the point where you're kind of losing control of the movement. You always want to be able to recover yourself, roll back to the center. Keeping your opposite shoulder down. Last one, taking both knees over to the left and exhale back to the center and hug both knees to your chest for a moment. Cross your right thigh over your left thigh and then either just hold it there or slide your hands down a little bit so that you can get into that piriformis stretch, that deep gluteal stretch of the hips. Taking just a few more breaths here. And then release, unwind, and to the other side. Hands to the knees. Maybe slide your hands down a little bit lower. Getting it into the left piriformis. And observe which is your tight side, if any. And then on your next breath, unwind and once again hug your knees towards your chest. So now bringing your shins up once again to a tabletop position, squeezing them together. Interlock your hands, hands go underneath your head and your elbows are floating. So we're going to do a chest lift with our legs lifted. Nod your chin, and on your breath, slide your ribs towards your pelvis. Stay there for a moment, squeezing the knees together, and then lower your rib cage back, and you should still have that hip flexor abdominal connection. Don't let it go into your lower back. Using your breath out to curl forward, and then inhale or an exhale to take yourself back, depending on how your breath feels today. If you want to pick up the pace, you can go single breath. Double check for yourself as you work that there's no pulling sensation on the head. Your arms and your hands are going to support your head like a hammock. Bring your awareness to the upper abdominals, curling you forward. Now on this last one, curl forward and hold it here. Can you now bring your knees towards your forehead and let your tailbone curl up? And your tailbone comes down. And now knees to forehead, lower ab curl, and release. We're only doing 3 more. Keep the focus. Last 2. This is a prerequisite for some of the advanced work, like the rollover and the boomerang. And release to knees and relaxing all the way down. Good. One hand on top of each knee. Let's stir the clouds. Drawing nice big circles away from each other. Just getting that little bit of mobility into the hip. And change directions. Make sure that there's no strain or pain in your lower back when you do this. And come to center. Slipping your hands behind your knees. Curl yourself into a tight little ball, and let's get ready to roll like a ball. Start by using your feet to create some momentum for the rolling. But then when you reach a point that you don't need your feet anymore, keeping your feet tucked in nice and tight. Make sure that you're not putting any pressure onto your neck or your head as you roll. Keep your chin in. We only roll onto the shoulders. Last 2. Beautiful. Nice, Jules. One more. And balance, balance, and placing your feet down. So just move back a little bit so that your legs are going to be out nice and straight. And I want you to pick up your left leg and just cross it over the right. You're going to lean your right hand behind you with the fingers pointing away from you. You can put your hand flat and start rolling onto your right hip as if you're going to go onto your side and place your fingertips to the ground. And then continue rolling onto your side and just see if you can find your balance. Let your elbows bend as they need to, and then roll yourself back. And again, rolling onto your right hip, and find your balance. So this is called the Cleopatra, and you come back to the center. And this is an adaptation from the Pilates reformer called the snake. And come back. And then if you perhaps wanted to challenge yourself, you roll to the side and you perhaps balance and roll back again and roll to the side, perhaps balance and center and switch hands, switch legs, and putting fingertips to the ground to start. Just roll onto the left and onto your back again. And again, rolling onto the left hip using the obliques. Bend your elbows as much as you need to so that there's no strain into the back. And we're going to do one more time like this, Cleopatra. And then perhaps you stay there, Stabilize the upper body, lift the right arm, or if that's too much, then you put your fingertips down again, and then you roll back to the center. And then perhaps we roll just using one arm for stability. And we come back and come all the way up. Switching legs around, you're going to just roll onto your right side. Give yourself a little pillow or support with that underneath arm. Fingertips light on the ground. Find that lovely long straight line in your body. And we're going to do a little bit of a combination here. So both your legs are going to lift up. We're going to stay there just for a second. And then your top leg is going to come up a little bit higher. You're still in parallel. And then your top leg comes down, but both legs are still suspended. And then your bottom leg goes down and lifts up. And then you put both legs down again. And then we do that in the sequence again. Both legs lift. Top leg goes up and down. Bottom leg goes down and up. And then both legs lower at the same time. Good, keep it going. Both legs up, connecting the obliques. Top leg lifts, there's the little gluteus medius muscle, the side of the bum. Bottom leg goes down and up, there's the inner thigh muscle. Squeeze, and both legs come down together. And again, obliques, bum cheek, inner thigh. Keep reaching through the crown of your head and lower both legs. One more set. Both legs lift. If your neck is hurting, remember you can just turn your head so the tip of your nose is pointing towards the ground. And bottom leg. And hold it. Now stay here. Pick up the top arm. Take a little breath in. And exhale. Everything comes down. Bring both knees up as if you're sitting in a chair. Cradle the back of the neck with the arm. Left arm comes forward. Let's do one thoracic rotation. Lifting your arm. Look up. Open up across the chest. Move your hips and knees if you need. And now we're going to stay here for 3 breaths in and out. Letting your body releasing into it. Getting an opening along the front of the chest. One more breath in and out. And then lifting your arm and rolling all the way to the front. Good, you can split your legs a little bit. Coming up, you're just going to swing onto your bum cheeks. I'm just going to be sitting sideways on my mat here. And then I want you to lengthen your spine, lift your shins to a tabletop position, and see if you can find your balance. Arms extended out in front of you, teaser V-sit, and then place your hands down, swing your feet over to the other side so you can come and lie now on your left side. Legs out nice and long, fingertips light. Take a moment to find your positioning, and then little combination. Both legs lift up. And you pause. The top leg goes up and down. The bottom leg goes down and up. Hold it, and then both legs come down together. And sideline obliques, hold. Sideline gluteals, and hold. Sideline adductors, squeeze your legs together. And both legs come down. Both legs lift up. Pause. Top leg. Get that little side bum muscle to connect. Hold it. Now the bottom leg goes down and up. Focus on the inner thighs. Hold. And both legs lower. We're going to do 2 more complete sets. Lifting both legs. Top leg goes up and down. Turn your head if you need to. Bottom leg goes down and up. And release. One more time, both legs. Top leg goes up and down. Bottom leg goes down and up. Hold it this time. Can you balance lifting the top arm up? Take a breath in, and everything comes down. Nice. Bend your knees up in front of you, cradle your head, right hand forward. Let's open up across the chest, rolling all the way back, letting your hips and knees adjust as they need, and we stay here for those 3 breaths out. Softening and releasing with each exhale. And then take your time, bringing the arm all the way forward and all the way to the front. Good. Flip onto your stomachs. So now we're going to do a little bit of a quadricep stretch. So if you need to give yourself a loop around your foot, then do so. Put your left hand under your head, bending the right knee, and then reach back and either hold to your pants, the loop, your ankle, or your foot. Just make sure that your knee and your lower back are okay. If you need to adjust the position of your thigh, then go for it. And then see if you can get your shoulders and your pelvis level to the ground. And we're going to do a little bit of breathing here. So as you exhale, you do a little bit of a squeeze with your bum, so you can feel the front of your pelvis flatten to the ground, and then inhale and just relax. And again, breathing out as you do a little squeeze and release. And again, exhale and squeeze. And release. And we're going to do 2 more. And release. One more time. And release. Let go. Stretch that leg out. And then maybe just rock your hips a little bit from side to side. And then let's try the other side. So right hand is under your head. Left hand grabs onto whatever feels best for you. The adjustments you need to so that your lower back and your knees feel okay. And then find your placement, your alignment with shoulders and pelvis. Breathe out as you do a little squeeze with the bum cheeks. And a little release. And again, breathing out. So you're biasing into a little bit of a posterior pelvic tilt. That's the squeeze of the bum, and that's actually where we maximize the stretch. One more time. And release. And stretch it out slowly. And then again, just rock your hips a little bit from side to side. So now, bring yourself into your cobra position. So elbows and hands are on the ground. Bring your legs into parallel, hip distance apart. Hover the tip of your nose and get a connection, just a gentle connection into the gluteals and the lower abdominals. Ready to come into cobra. We're going to inhale to come up. And we're going to exhale to release down. And we've already warmed up the back quite a bit with our cat stretch at the beginning, with our roll down. So you might be able to go into quite a large back extension right away, but don't feel it out for yourself. Inhale up and exhale down. And now one more time, inhale to come up and exhale to stay here in your cobra. So I want you to feel the opening, the rolling back of the shoulders so that your heart can really stretch forward. Give your head a wobble. Your head should not be tense on top of your spine. And let your head settle. Anchor your pelvis and see if you can squeeze your bum cheeks and hover the legs. It's not a very high lift. Now slowly bend the right knee as if you're going to kick your own bottom, and then stretch that leg out. And now the left knee, bend it slowly and stretch it out. We've already stretched the front of the thigh, so hopefully this feels okay on your knees. Bending the right knee and stretch. See if you can keep your chest lifted in that little baby cobra. And we're going to do 2 more, one on the right and one on the left. This is preparation for an exercise called the single leg kick. That's part of the original repertoire that Joseph Pilates developed. Hold it here and relaxing legs, relaxing chest. Pop your elbows to face up to the sky and then press yourself up, and then it's come into a resting position. So just finding a curve of the spine. Put your hands wherever feels good for you. So I feel like I almost need to hold on to my feet today to really get that stretch into my lower back. But you could put your arms under your head if you want, or you can stretch your arms in front of you. Just taking a moment to release those back muscles. Nice easy breath in and out. And then in your own time, bringing your hands just to the floor in front of you. Bringing your knees into parallel. Tucking your toes under. And you're going to walk your hands quite close towards your knees and thighs. Round your spine, so you've got your abs connected. And then see if you can roll over your feet. So you're in a crouched position. If this doesn't feel good on your knees, then maybe just lift your hips up a little bit. And then roll your knees down to the floor again. It's quite a lovely stretch around the soles of the feet. And again, push into your hands and roll back into a little crouched position. And then roll your knees down again. A little stretch for the soles of the feet. This is the last time. Here we go. Roll back, and now walk your hands closer to your feet and go onto the tips of your fingers. You're going to push into your feet and hands and see if you can come up until your feet are flat. And then just hang there. Give your head a little shake. No, 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 no. And then nod your chin. Yes, 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 yes. Let your head hang heavy. And then let's unravel, coming slowly up into standing, feeling your feet anchor, lifting up through the chest. Take a moment to focus your gaze, maybe roll the shoulders back and around, and then let yourself settle. Close your eyes for a moment, and just as you stand there, feeling your feet spread out, feeling your joints stacking. Notice your head floating upwards. And then maybe just doing that little rocking forwards and backwards on your feet. Just feeling those subtle, refined connections that you've created. We've woken up. Center yourself over your feet, and maybe just moving from side to side. Just a gentle sway. Come and stand evenly on your feet. Take a nice deep breath in through the nose, open your mouth and sigh. Blinking your eyes open. Let's finish with one deep breath in. Inhale, reach up. Touching hands. And exhale, clearing some space for the rest of your day. Rolling the shoulders back. Fabulous. Feel good? Oh, fantastic. Good. Awesome. Thanks, Jules.
Namaste, Renee.
Namaste, thank you. You just turn this back on.